Hello, 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 everybody. Oh my God, we have such an exciting day. I know you all have been waiting for it. I know I have. The Author-Illustrator. Type in the chat where you are, open up your chat. So excited to have you here. We have four giveaways. We're gonna have one, but Meera is offering some things too. So we've got Portland, Natasha in the Netherlands. Yeah, type in where you are and be sure to put questions in the Q&A down there. Buxton, Minnesota, California, Nashville, Maine,
Oh,
UK,
wow.
Rhode Island. Yeah, we have them from all over the world. Mira,
Yeah,
I'm so
everywhere.
excited to be here with you. You know, I have been your biggest fan for like a really long time. I loved watching your career. I love watching it. And it's very exciting to all of us to have you.
Thank you, Lilla. It's a dream to be here. I was so happy when you reached out. Very grateful to have this time with you. Thank you.
Oh, totally. We're going to have a lot of fun talking about your career and arty books, nonfiction illustrated books. A reminder today is the last day of the big giant sale at Make Art That Sells. So you do want to sign up for everything and anything you want. In particular, I really recommend Portfolio Club if you just want to get one thing. But I do recommend My Year of Art School. That is 4 live courses with me over the course of the year. So you have that structure, you have the assignments. It is Portfolio Club, which is 8 months of assignments, my kid book pitch, which is writing and oh, kid book pitch. That's writing a picture book. We have illustrating children's books and boot camp lettering. So that's what's in that. Jonathan's so excited for live. Oh, yeah, show us your nails. My husband said, he said, make sure you show everybody your nails on the Zoom. He said like 3 times. And this one, this is 3D. Look, it's like
Wow,
a flower popping out. So when I hold up the
beautiful.
products, so he's like, make sure they see. Isn't he adorable? Okay. Um, Well, let me read your bio to everybody. I think you all know her, but I'll just. Meera Lee Patel is a self-taught artist, which is really impressive, writer, and internationally recognized best-selling author. She writes books that help people connect with themselves, each other, and the world around them. Her books and journals for everyone have sold well over 1 million copies. That's amazing. And have been translated, and I own all of them, by the way, and have been translated into more than a dozen languages worldwide. By the way, she doesn't even have this in her bio, but she also has done calendars, baby clothing, planners, stationery, cards, and shoes. But she said, we were talking before we went live, she said, but my heart is in books. This is the name of her most recent book. In 2021, Meera was awarded the Olin Fellowship to pursue her MFA in Illustration and Visual Culture at Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri. After spending many years waiting for the right time to pursue her first love, children's literature, she finally is following her heart while continuing to advocate for greater mental health awareness through her work. She hopes to write and illustrate for children as well as the grown-ups who care for them. Each week, she writes Dear Somebody, and isn't that on Substack?
Yes.
Yeah. A short note chronicling 5 things worth remembering, including reflections on motherhood and the creative process. She is also a core contributor at Uppercase Magazine. Yes, I always see your,
With Lilla.
yep, boom, where she writes and illustrates being and illustrates it beautifully. A column on the intersection of mental health and creativity. She has been written about in Mother, Creative Boom, Vogue India, ArtScene.net, among many others. Yay. So please give a big round of applause to our very special guest. Okay. So I mean, you started with your first book, and that must have required a
Yeah.
lot of gut. Yeah, you want to, oh, will you show us your books? Will you show us
Yes.
your books?
So I have a couple, I grabbed whatever was available. So this
Hmm.
is the most recent Learn to Let Go. And
Right.
some of the other ones I'm holding up. This was the first one, Start Where You Are, but I'm holding up different translations if that
Oh,
was what was available. So this is Polish.
yeah.
And I have Go Your Own Way came out a couple years ago, which was really special to me because this one was all about carving your own path, not doing what people tell you is acceptable or safe
Right.
or, going against the grain. If you feel that's right for you, embracing that. This was the French translation. This is the UK edition of Made Out of Stars,
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
the English edition of Create Your Own Calm.
Mm-hmm.
So those were all my illustrated journals. And then I have two books of illustrated essays. Because I do consider myself to be a writer actually first.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I think. And you could say they're both the English editions. So My Friend Fear, which is all about um, not running away from your fear, for accepting it, becoming comfortable with it, and learning to walk alongside it. And how it feels to find yourself is a lot of different palettes that walk you through some of life's most meaningful and pivotal moments of transition.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Which
So
was what
those are
was
my
your
books.
first one again? Fear,
My
right?
first one was start. My first book of
Oh,
essays was
start
My
where
Friend Fear. Start Where
my
You Are was my first book. Yeah.
start where you are. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Start where you are. Yeah.
Yeah, that came out in 2015.
10 years.
10
Wow.
years, I know.
I, I have them all. So how did you decide you wanted to pitch a book and what
Oh,
and, yeah.
I mean, I've always wanted to be a writer.
Mhm.
I have from a very young age been writing and illustrating my own stories. And I think that they were it was always a way for me to feel my own creativity. And as I grew up, I turned more and more deeply towards writing. I really loved writing poetry.
Uh,
I really liked writing short stories, but even in school, English was my favorite class. I loved reading. I loved writing essays. I loved responding to
mhm.
prompts. Writing was just how I thought. It's how I worked through my feelings. Yeah, it's how I worked through dilemmas. I wrote about them.
Mhm.
And when it was time to apply to college, I ended up going for English and journalism instead of art school. My parents are immigrants. They moved here in their late 20s from India, and they have always been very supportive of my creativity, but they were also scared, They didn't see
Course, sure.
stability in an art career, and
Mhm.
they really stressed and emphasized financial independence
Mhm.
and self-responsibility, like being able to take care of myself.
Mhm.
So I went to school for journalism, and when I graduated, I got a job as an editor at an electrical engineering publishing company. And my dad is an electrical engineer, and he was really excited, and I was
Oh, God
really
bless.
depressed.
Right. Oh, poor
Yeah,
dad.
I
Oh,
know. He was like,
he's
"This is great." I was like, "This is not great." Like, I wanted to work for a magazine. I wanted to be in New York.
right.
Um, So anyway, I was grateful. It was a job. It
Yeah.
paid. I had health insurance. These are all very important things to me.
Hmm.
And I worked for about a year before I really felt like I was losing myself. I
Sure.
was pretty depressed and I felt really uncomfortable with the idea of showing up to work every day and spending my life in a way that wasn't meaningful to me.
Yeah.
That didn't make me feel like me. Like I felt like I could be anybody. but where did I go?
Right.
And so I started drawing and writing again, but primarily drawing because I was working with words all day at work. Um, and drawing was more of an escape, and it helped me connect with myself again and feel alive and creative and joyful. And I opened an Etsy shop and I started selling, figuring out like, oh, how do I make like little prints and how can I do cards? And will somebody pay me to commission a portrait of their family or their dog or their house? Or I was really willing to do anything if it paid me to draw.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that for a long time. And I started setting goals. It was very not romantic. I was very practical. I was like, this is how much I make from my job. This is how much I need to make if I want to buy my own health insurance. This is how much rent would cost. I would love to move to Brooklyn. That's how much this would cost. And so I started setting financial goals that I wanted to hit with my art, not with my job. And along the way, I met a friend on Tumblr. If anybody here remembers Tumblr, I met a friend on Tumblr, and he lived in the UK. And we became really good friends on the internet. And one year he came to New York, and by then I had moved to Brooklyn, and I still had my job, but I worked remotely. The job was in New Jersey, where I'm from. And he came to New York because he had a meeting with his editor at Penguin Random House. And he said, hey, do you want to come with me and meet my editor? And I was like, and that was such a sweet, generous um, opportunity that he extended to me. So I went with him to meet his editor, and I just kind of sat in the corner of the office. And he said, this is my friend. I said, hi. And, they talked their business. And before I left, I said, would it be okay if I emailed you? I would love to write books one day. And the editor said yes. And she was very gracious. And
And was
I
that
went
a,
home.
did that take a lot of guts to ask that? Were you scared?
I was very scared. I was not scared of her saying no, but as we'll probably get into, Lilla, and how, we talked about before we went live, I don't think, I think for most of my life, I have not believed in myself.
Mhm.
I have always waited for somebody else outside of me to say, you have what it takes. So I was, I think, feeling very vulnerable, um, and I think I was looking for validation, in every, what can I say, exchange that I had with somebody whom I admired. And so it was vulnerable. I was scared, but I also felt this is an opportunity. Like my friend has let me tag along, and
Mhm.
I'm not gonna waste it. It's a chance. So I asked, she said yes. And I went home and I Googled how to make a book proposal. That's what I did. And I made a book proposal for the book that I wanted to make, which was Start Where You Are. And it was a journal for self-exploration because this was the work that I was doing at the time. And it was
Mhm.
the work that everybody I talked to, we had all like graduated, we were in jobs, we were unhappy. This is not what I thought being an adult would be like. And, you know, this is not what I thought going into graphic design would be like, and this is not what I thought teaching would be like. And we were all kind of in that boat. And it's when Pinterest was really taking off, and everybody was pinning these quotes, and they would say, I love this quote, and it's so inspiring. And what I was seeing that people were pinning quotes, but they weren't taking action to apply what that quote was saying, what that beautiful poster was saying to their lives to make a change. And that's what Start Where You Are does. It takes a piece of inspiration, a moment of encouragement, and it tells you, okay, here's the sentiment behind this message. Here's how to break it down into actionable steps. Here's how you apply it to your life. Keep doing this every day. And in a year, 2 years, 5 years, your life is going to look very different. and it's going to be more in line with what you actually care about.
Love
And so
that.
that's what Start Where You Are was. And I sent it to the editor and I said, thank you for giving me an opportunity to reach out to you, to present something to you. You know, this is what I have. And I was the luckiest duck in the whole world. She made me an offer. And I said yes. And everything that I got was after that. I got an agent, a literary agent after that. You know, I made more books after that. I quit my job still 3 years later. I still worked for 3 more years, totaling almost a decade, working on my art and working full time before I was able to quit.
What, at the
So
engineering
at the
place?
engineering, yeah, I worked there for 8 years. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
You
It's most of my
persevered
20s.
and
I
you were
did.
and you were thoughtful financially and you
Yes.
built up the other business and knew that Rome
Hmm.
wasn't built in a day, that it
Hmm.
was going to take time and I also want to circle back to what she said. She wrote a book based on what she was going through, what
Hmm.
she was processing, and that's authenticity.
Hmm.
That's why people love her work because it's so we feel her in her books. We feel like she's learned the stuff, had to figure it out for herself, and now she offers it to you. That's beautiful.
Hmm.
I love it.
Thank you, Lilla.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. So beautiful. I can ask a next question. How do you come up with a new book idea? You're on your you've published five or
I think 7.
seven.
Yeah,
Amazing. Are you working on the next book and can you reveal it or no? And I mean, I know you can't reveal the book.
sure.
Can you reveal that you are working on a book?
Yes, I'm working on my next journal.
Okay.
And I am working on illustrating my first picture book.
You are.
Yeah, I didn't write this one, but I'm illustrating it. It's my
That's
first one.
great
Yeah,
though. That's
yeah,
great. I love that for you because it's enough of a learning curve to freaking illustrate a book.
yeah. It
Okay.
is.
You have to write it. And then once you do that, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I see what the writing
Hmm.
has to do and what the illustration does. And
Hmm.
one thing I teach is don't have the writing talk about what the illustration can do. Like if
Right.
the illustration can
Yep.
do it, it should be in the writing. Anyway, that's
Yep.
great. So how do you come up with like any of your book ideas or this one? Like people want to know and
So I feel super lucky. Like I feel super lucky to be able to say this out loud, but each of my books is, you know, a collection of years from my life.
mm,
So, Create Your Own Calm serendipitously came out in 2020 during the pandemic, but
unbelievable.
it's all about anxiety. And I have a lot of anxiety, and I had become a mother 8 months prior. And that just opened the gates to every single insecurity, anxious thought, fear that I had. And it was in a whole different way because it wasn't about all these fears and anxiety about me. It was about this baby that I decided to bring into the world. So this is a culmination of everything I did to work through those fears and those anxieties and how I learned to kind of recalibrate myself to not run away from the anxiety, but to understand what is the root fear behind it and
Yeah.
how can I accept that and learn from it so I can continue, I'm still anxious, but I don't let it run my life.
Mhm.
And, you know, that's how I learned to do that. So
Beautiful.
all of these are different, they're different pieces of me and different chapters of my life. And I feel very grateful, that I have a publisher who supports me and who has allowed me to essentially chronicle my life in book form. I feel super lucky to be able to do that.
That's wonderful. A few comments. People are really resonating with what you're talking about. Alana says she
Mm,
totally can relate. Christina says, yes, I came across that book when I was going through a lot. It really impacted me.
mm,
Yeah, and I wish that the book I'd had your book when I was had my first baby too, and I'm like, what where do
What happened?
what happened? And yeah, so much. So, um, so when you're writing, I assume you still write a proposal or
Mhm.
something for your agent or publisher, and like maybe is it a table of contents, a summary, something like that, a description?
Sure. So let me tell you, because there are two different ones. So for something like Learn to Let Go or Made Out of Stars, for the journals, it is a simpler proposal because I have published quite a few by now, and they have, again, lucky
Yes.
that they have done well. There's and they follow the same format. There's art on the left, and let me open it up. There's art on the left and an exercise that helps you walk you through this quote,
Mhm.
right? And apply that, really apply what this language is saying to your life to help you understand yourself better. So they all follow the same format. So when I do a proposal for a journal, it what matters most is my subject matter, why I think this subject is important, and why I think, making a journal about it will help people, and then applying it to the culture, to our society. What am I seeing in our culture right now that makes me think that this is important? So I will tell you that my forthcoming journal that I'm working on right now, but that is going to be a book that was accepted, is about persistence. And so it's about how do you keep going? Like you figured a couple things out, you have some momentum, but how do you keep going when things are changing? How do you keep going when life gets in the way? How do you keep going if you don't think you're good enough? How do you how do you combat the eternal, how do you combat yourself if your biggest obstacle is yourself?
I love that.
So,
So, and that's what I always say. The secret of success, people say, do I have enough talent? Talent grows. Talent is infinite. It's persistence. The key, the success, the secret to success is perseverance. And you
yeah.
do that by staying motivated, but also all the psychological stuff that you're talking about. You're
Hmm.
insecure. I can't do it. I'm not motivated. I don't have the time. How do you,
Hmm.
that's it. And then you have a long
Hmm.
career. Oh, that's beautiful.
Hmm.
Jeremy says, what milestone in your creative career gave you the push to leave your technical engineering career? I'm also juggling a career in engineering. And
Wow.
hey, he's your clone. And author
Yeah.
illustrator. I'd love to hear about your experience.
Well, he's an actual engineer, so that's different because engineers are very cool. Um, I will say my milestone was one practical and one emotional. So the practical one was finances. I knew I wanted to live in New York. I knew I wanted to support myself. I knew health insurance was important to me. Having a retirement account was important to me. Like those kind of practical things that were kind of instilled to me from a young age, they were important to me. So many times during that near decade that I was working full time, and pursuing art, I would call my mom in tears and I would say, I am so tired. Like, I go to work all day and then I come home and I stay up all night, drawing and cold emailing, editors, agents, art directors, trying to get work. People aren't writing me back. I don't have time for my friendships because I put all my time into two jobs.
Mhm.
Like I'm tired. I can't do this. And she would always say, if you want to quit your job and make art full time, you can come home and live with me. And I always thought to myself, I want to make art full time, but I don't want to move back home. And
Gotcha.
so it was it was like that really helped me clarify that I want to be a full-time artist, but not at the sacrifice of other things that are important to me, like independence, and being self-reliant and things. They matter to me just as much. And so if I was going to work for myself, I had some stipulations. So one was the financial goal, and I hit the financial goal. And then the other thing that kept me from quitting for years was the fear. And I was just so scared. What if it doesn't work out? What if my parents who worked so hard to move here, to raise us, to scrimp and save and use the coupons and not buy anything for themselves? What if they see me fall flat? I'm going to disappoint them. Like they wanted me to be an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer, like something stable. So there was
Right.
a lot of
Sure.
fear. There was a lot of letting myself down, letting other people down. And I will say I had the push because I proposed this book to my editor, and she said yes. I said, I want to write a book about fear, about the crippling effects of fear and how it keeps us from actually being who we are and living the lives we want. And she said, great. And she made me an offer. And I thought to myself, what Lilla was saying, authenticity. I said, the only reason I got this book deal, this was my second book, and they didn't want this book. They wanted a journal because the first journal had done so well. And I said, my publisher's taking a chance on me. It's not the type of book they wanted. I wanted to write. These are essays, illustrated essays. Um,
Wow, beautiful.
um, I said, I don't want to let my publisher down. I don't want to let myself down. Like, this is a really big opportunity. And I cannot write a book telling people how to leave their fear behind when every single decision I make every single day is under fear. Like, I live under my fear, behind my fear. Like, I'm consumed by it. So I decided I had to do all the things that scared me in order to write this book. So I had never lived anywhere except for New Jersey or New York. So I sublet my apartment. I quit my job. That was the thing. I said, I have to. This is the biggest thing I'm afraid of. I quit my job. I had always wanted to see the country, but I was terrified of traveling alone because I'm small. I'm a woman. I was scared. I have a lot of, those kind of fears. And
Great.
I traveled through the country in Canada alone with a backpack writing this book. I said, you got to do it. And that's what I did. And it was the best year of my life. It was such a great year.
Wow. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I
So that
traveled
was what pushed me.
back around the country too,
You
and I
did.
was a small little woman. And
Yeah.
there's, and I want to address it is a feminist issue, the fear and anxiety we women have. It's
Hmm.
very real when you are marginalized, when you have fewer opportunities. I always think, imagine as a woman, as a girl, imagine people, all of you, as a young girl, that whatever you wanted to be, like let's say you wanted to do embroidery or be an artist or an illustrator and know that it was the same financial future as an engineer, lawyer, doctor, comp sci. Imagine if we felt that whatever we wanted was not going to be so hard to achieve success, so hard to make money. And that affects us absolutely. Of course, we feel fear. Of course, we feel insecurity. Of course, we question ourselves. If you knew that when you graduated from art school or whatever, you were going to make a nice six figure or 200,000, 300, how would that have affected all of us? So, and it is a feminist issue because it's not set in stone who should make what kind of money. It's people deciding who's going to get paid what in our culture. That is, it's not just like
Hmm.
whatever. So that's
Hmm.
pretty wonderful. Okay. Oh, this is beautiful. So, so that's what you do. Okay. We're going to deviate a little. What art supplies do you use?
I am primarily, so all of my books are in watercolor.
Hmm.
And I will say in the past year, I've really gotten into ink and watercolor. So I'm really falling in love with line work. I'm making a lot more narrative illustration, which Lilla, you've probably seen in uppercase. I illustrate a column being. So I write an essay and I illustrate it, and I'm approaching that very editorially because as I work on books, which are very long-term projects, I can't share anything. And I also wanted I'd like to have a mental break from a very long, deep project. And
Yeah.
so I'm welcoming editorial work, um, both for the fast turnaround and deadline, and also being able to tell a story through illustration, but also, like we were just talking about, so I can make work that pertains to the social issues I care about. I would love to do more editorial work about motherhood, domesticity, childcare, child education, things like that. So
Mhm.
I've been using my uppercase assignments to explore that kind of illustration. And in that, it's very heavy on line work. And then the color is watercolor. And it's been really interesting.
Oh, isn't she inspiring everybody? And sort of put your
Thank
questions
you.
in the Q&A. Everyone is so riveted. There are no questions in the Q&A. I've never seen that before. Everyone is glued to you, Meera, that
You're
they
sweet, Lilla. I
know it's
have
true.
I have the last uppercase, so I'm just gonna share it so you guys can see the difference between my book work. And so I'm
Wow.
making a lot of work like this, which is
Mhm.
also really fun because I want to get into children's illustration.
Beautiful,
Um,
beautiful.
thank you.
And look how she always creates a vibe. Uh, the colors, the little three little children and the big blue dandelion sky thingy bobber. It's very, she creates a mood, a vibe, a feeling.
Thank
That's,
you.
yeah, love the magical feel, says Elsaba. Elsaba. That's a nice name.
That's a nice
Okay.
name.
Art supplies. What kind of paper do you use?
I like Arches hot press if I'm not doing line work. So for my books, I use that. I like a smooth grain, so the brush doesn't get caught.
Ah,
And if I'm doing a lot more detailed work, then I do prefer cold press because it lets me do more layers and add more detail without getting lost.
okay. And cold
I'm
press is the bumpy
Yeah,
one. Hmm.
yeah. I do watercolor for everything, even if it's not watercolor. I think I'm just familiar with it. So
It's watercolor's so fabulous.
yeah.
You don't do digital.
I do some digital. I do digital. I've been working digital I make greeting cards for a company called Beely and Show.
Oh
And
yeah.
I've been doing a lot more digital for them. And I've been really enjoying, I do it in Procreate, and
Yeah.
I've really been enjoying it pushes me to more comfortably use shape and not line work,
Mm.
where the shape is taken over more of the illustration. And I like that I can experiment with it. Um, and I like that I can like sit next to my kid while she watches like Daniel Tiger and draw a little bit. And then she'll say, Mama, can I draw on the iPad? And I say yes. And she's made such nice paintings. And it's important for my kids to see that a screen can be a tool and that you can be creative with it.
Yeah.
So I do draw on the iPad and especially next to them.
Yeah. It's the iPad is just it's incredible. Just so much more you get freedom in a
Yeah.
different way. I love
Yeah.
traditional and digital. Okay, what's your favorite part of writing or illustrating a book once you have the deal? What's your favorite part? Or,
That's a good question.
or favorite parts, plural?
I think favorite is a word that's hard for me because
Okay. What do
I
you enjoy?
find, well, I find making a book to be a really big struggle. So I find a lot of satisfaction in it and like it's really gratifying, but I
Mm,
don't know if I have a favorite part. I think they're all
yeah,
favorite
forget the
parts
word.
because, yeah, they're like hard won victories. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you
So,
don't struggle, but then you get it and it
yeah,
works
like you get
together. Like,
exactly.
wait, I'm
You're
writing
learning the whole
this.
time.
Yeah, and you have the different I wrote a book
Yeah.
too. And I know like it's like, wait, I want to talk about all this, but then where does that fit over here? But then I have
Mm-hmm.
that and
Mm-hmm.
organizing or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot, but then you get it and boom,
Yeah.
the
Like
drug. That's
talking through it was helpful. I think editing is my favorite part of writing a book. The first draft is my least favorite. Like that's the part where you're just like, I'm terrible. I cannot believe somebody's paying me to write a book. I don't know any sentences. I have a very small vocabulary. But then I get it all out, and then you can shape it and move parts around and make it make sense. And I think that is my favorite part because you're also like, oh, I do have it. It just needed a little spice and a little love, and I needed to step away. And yeah,
That
I
is
like
so
that.
true. It's so true. Yeah, the
Yeah.
first part, I call that because I'm a rather crude person. I call it the barfing out phase. Just
That's what
like
it is,
barf
though.
it out, just barf it out. And when my kids
Yeah.
would have to write a paper or something, I'm like, just barf it out. Just like throw out anything that's in your head. Boop, boop, boop.
Hmm.
And then, right, and then you finesse, you edit, and
Yes.
you're like, yeah, I could
Yes.
say this a little like that. Oh, that feels good.
Yes. This
Yeah.
is a tangent, Lilla, but maybe it will be helpful.
So,
I taught a workshop the last 2 weeks at WashU in the MFA program, and I did a workshop, a zine making workshop on clarifying your writing. And
mm,
part of it was I had all these prompts for the students, and in the end, we made a zine. But the prompts were answer this prompt in 250 words. And so the end of the assignment, they had 1,600 words, and I made them cut each 250 down into an 8 word sentence. Yeah. And that was the part where it was like, right where they were like, how am I going to write 250 words for each of these? And I said, just throw it all up. Whatever you got, doesn't matter if it makes sense, doesn't matter if it sounds good. You just want it out of your head and onto the paper. And then making it look good, sound good, feel good, that part is number two. Don't don't edit when don't be an editor when you're supposed to be a writer. That's what I said. You write first, you edit later. So that is always my
well,
motto, I guess. And it helps because when you're writing a bunch of garbage, you're like, that's okay. It's supposed to be garbage right now.
well, or not garbage. I think of the first draft as ideas. These are my
Yes.
ideas. I'm putting out my ideas. And then the second is buffing and polishing, shaping.
Yep.
So they're very different things. Yeah, writing's awesome. Um, I have a 300-page book manuscript that I've done nothing with. Maybe I'll get to eventually.
You've already written 300 pages?
Yes.
Well, we're gonna have to talk about
Okay.
that.
You can yell at me.
Yeah,
No, I've been a little busy, you know,
sure, sure.
been a little bit. Yeah.
It's
Okay. Well,
amazing that you rewrote that.
it was so good. And I spent like 3 months, January through March. It was like, I don't know, was it pandemic time? I don't know when it was, to be honest. And I just would sit in my chair every morning, get up, and I swear it was channeled. You must feel that too.
Yeah,
Like they're
yeah.
just doing
Just
the
comes to
dump,
you.
just
Hmm.
they're giving you. And I would just sit there and then I go, this is what I want to tell my people, you
Hmm.
know, because like you, we want to serve, we want to help.
Hmm.
We're like, oh, I want them to know this. And that's how I teach too. I want them to
Hmm.
know this. I want them not to hurt. It's like my kids. I never want my kids to be unhappy.
Hmm.
I never want them to have pain or be unhappy. And they're 29 and 31. But, that's not actual reality. But it's like I don't want my students, my followers to struggle. I want to make it
Yeah,
easier for them. And that's exactly what you
sure.
do too. Like you went through it. Now here's how to figure it out. Thank you, Christina and Amber and Tina. And okay, favorite part. What advice do you have? And by the way, don't forget we have four giveaways. We're giving away the Artie book course, and then I'll tell you the rest in a sec. Okay. What advice do you have for those interested in getting their own illustrated author book deal, like an Artie book, which I call an Artie book?
Um, I think that I would make sure that you know what kind of book you want to make. What do you want to write about? What is the subject? What do you want the art to look like? What do you want the writing to sound like? And I say that because not only will you have to show that in your proposal, but when you get your book deal, you will have to make that book. And that will be like the whole process is going to be 3 years of your life. And you
Mm,
don't want to give those 3 years to something you don't really, really care about because you will get resentful. You will have other work during that time. You will have other priorities, whether it's children or parents or friends or partners, that need your time. And so
Yeah.
you want it to be a book that you really care about, that you want to keep coming back to, even through the struggling parts and the disappointing parts. And you want it to be something that you feel very, very proud to put out into the world, because then after it goes out into the world, you still have to do the work of selling it. You, the publisher is not going to do that. You have to sell it. You have to tell people about it. You have to be wanting to talk about it over and
Mhm.
over again, like they are your child that you do not want to feel pained. You
Did you
have
like?
to. Yeah, you got to really, really care about it. And
Yeah.
so don't make the mistake of getting yourself into a book contract with something that you didn't really want to make or don't really care about, because you'll still have to do all that work and it won't be satisfying for you.
Mhm. Yeah, and don't do a book that you think, oh, well, I should do a book like Meera Lee Patel. Look how great that is. That was right for her, and you will, if you try to be someone else, you will be an inferior duplicate of that. It won't work. Be you, be the kind of book that you feel in your gut, and that is your
Mhm.
unique experiences. Okay, we before we went live, you and I talked about that we wanted to talk about kids and career. How
Mm.
do you have two kids?
I have two kids. Yeah, they're 5 and 2.
5 and 2. You're in the thick of
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
one is in kindergarten and one is at home or preschool or something.
she's in preschool. Yeah,
School. Okay.
yeah.
So what do you have advice or do you want to ask me a question about
Oh, I want your advice. I'm the
okay?
one that needs the advice.
Okay, what do
Yeah,
you want to
I would
ask?
love to know. Something that I feel like has been very hard for me was I did take a step back in my career. We talked about off camera. I used to do so many things. I did licensing. I had a full product business that was like a bulk of my income that I ran out of my house. My husband every night would help me ship orders and do all of that. I did books. I did freelance. I did commissions. I did all of that. And then I had the baby and I said, I'm not going to slow down. And that was during COVID. So it was me, my husband, and the baby at home, no help. No families allowed over. Like we don't have any childcare, nothing. We work only during naps, which is really when you should be sleeping because you're not sleeping at night. You're up with the baby. So we're
Right.
running on no sleep. Both of us work for ourselves. And I thought I was doing it for me. I thought I was holding on to who I was and, not letting go of this amazing career that I cannot believe that I built. But it was so painful. And I was so angry and
Mhm.
I was so unhealthy. There's no time for me. I didn't sleep. I
Mhm.
wasn't eating, it was bad. And
Mhm.
so when I had the second baby, which again, we like to take on a lot. So I was in grad school working full time when I got pregnant with Fred, and I tried to time her so that she would come after I graduated, but she came 2 weeks before. So I gave birth and then I had to go back 2 weeks later to defend my thesis and all that. But with Fred, I said, I'm gonna have Fred, I'm gonna graduate, and then gonna I'm gonna stay home. And I stayed home with her for a year and took a step back
Mhm.
from work. And I have struggled a lot with having to take a step back
Mhm.
because it's not as much as I wanted that time with her and it was the best decision. It was also because I don't live in a society where I am given support
Right.
as a woman and a mother. Like if I want to not take a step back from my career, then my husband has to step back from his to take care of the baby so I can keep going full force. There's nothing outside of the two of us.
Mhm.
We don't have community or family in St. Louis. So I just I feel still very disappointed about what having a family is like in America.
Yeah.
Um, and that there's no early child care, that, Fred is in preschool right now and we have to pay for it, and it's mind-boggling. Like,
So expensive.
the options are like more than your mortgage. It's insane.
Mhm.
Um, I'm sorry that I like kind of went on this
No, no,
weird.
this you're absolutely right.
Well,
You're absolutely right. Mm-hmm.
my question for you was, how did you reconcile those difficulties if you felt them,
I did. Yeah, yeah.
when your kids are little? Because I comfort myself by saying these little cuties like are not going to always want to sit right on top of me.
I,
And so enjoy the time, and I will have more time for my work. I'll have more space. Like, I'll have all of that in a couple of years. And then
mm,
at the same time, I feel disappointed that I have to choose because I don't feel like I should have to choose.
I know. You're absolutely right, 100%. Um, so like you, well, I was older. I was 39 when I had Jacob. And I had built my career so much, getting all kinds of work. I had three agents, one in New York, one in Paris, one in Tokyo. I had built up this whole thing. I didn't want to lose momentum of my
Right.
career. I was afraid if I slowed down. I took 2 weeks off and then I still like had an illustration gig, crazy. But I didn't want to lose momentum. And I, like you, always had to support myself and feel financial independence and so forth. And so it was a lot of stress. It really took it out of me and everything. Um, and then I realized, and my husband, he's an ER doctor, so he was gone all the time.
All
And
the
it didn't
time.
matter if I was sick, he couldn't stay home and take care of the babies or whatever.
Right.
So we got an au pair, which was
Hmm.
the least expensive option because they live with you. You give them room and
Hmm.
board, and we were lucky to have a wonderful Micah Jasmine from Germany, and she was wonderful. And we had her for almost a year. And then after that, and as I made more money, I could hire more and more
Sure.
and to me, the more it was about, I'm like, if my husband has full-time childcare, me,
Yeah.
so he can do his work, I'm getting full-time childcare. And I got full-time childcare. And that allowed me to make the money and then some, plenty of money,
Sure.
that plus whatever. It's an investment. And
Yeah.
it really, that's what I did. I had a lot of childcare. That's the reality, just like a man would have childcare.
Yes.
So I always treated like, what would a man do, because
Hmm.
sometimes we don't think that way. And
Hmm.
they have all kinds of support in many cases, not to generalize and not to diss. But um, that's what I did, and I realized there are three people in the marriage. There's me, my baby, and my husband, and we're all equally important.
Yeah.
Although,
Yep.
when you have a kid, your husband is like sort of like he's like he lives
Remember
here.
me?
Yeah, it's like, and then once your kids leave the house, you're like, oh wow. And I love my husband. I'm so glad. Like I just love being with him now, and it's so great. But anyway, so it's important to just those are some tips.
Yeah, I think that's really helpful advice. I wish I had heard it,
Mm.
4 years ago.
Well, now,
And I,
what? But you wrote books out of those
yeah,
feelings.
yeah, I know.
Books out of
You
it.
make the most of it. Yeah.
Make the
Yeah.
most of it. Yeah, what else? And then I had so week number two. So I had Jacob, he's 2 weeks old, get a knock on the door from my neighbor. And she says, Catherine, who's 11 years old, would love to be your mother's helper. I'm like, yeah, yeah, now. Yes, yes. And that's what I realized, like you, I had no family around. I'd only been living here like a year or 2 years or something. I didn't have that support system. And I'm like, Lilla, you have to you have to create your own. And I
Yeah.
got Catherine and some who was 11. Sometimes her little sister Maureen, who was 2 years younger, they just love to hold the baby. I had a friend
So
who said,
cute.
when you have a baby, you just want somebody to just take the baby, just hold the baby. Like,
Right.
and I thought of in other cultures in previous times before we all lived in these houses by ourselves or whatever, you had like senile Aunt Sophie who could just sit
Hmm.
there and hold a baby,
Hmm.
Grandma Sophie or whatever. And you had like different people who could help.
Hmm.
So that's what I created. I had Maureen and Catherine. Then I had Nova, who was full time. After Micah Jasmine, I had then and I would like be breastfeeding. They'd bring the Jacob in,
Right.
and I taught here a class once a week, and like in the middle of class, they'd bring the baby in, and then when I was an illustrator and I had an assistant, and then maybe when I was an agent, there were two of us, and the phone would ring, the old days. And so it was like we'd like Courtney would take Jacob and run into the other room, because this is my home, this is my
Right.
studio.
Right.
Doors. I also got doors on everything.
Yeah,
Like I couldn't
that's
open.
important. You need a door.
Yeah, but I want to be home with the kids. But
Yeah.
yeah, you have to take your work very seriously, which you do, and spend money on buying time.
Yeah.
Spend money on allowing you to have time, and then be aware of your health. Yeah, Tina, while not neglecting yourself or your health.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, I'm empty nest now, and man, it's all good. It's all good. I just went down to see my son and my future daughter-in-law, and that was
Oh,
just so great. I just got back yesterday, but
that's amazing. I cannot even imagine. I cannot even imagine having people say like, my daughter's 9 years old. I'm like, how does that? They turn 9? Like
I
that feels
know.
so far away.
I
And
know.
I don't, it's like I feel like amazement. And then I also feel like sorrow. I'm like, I don't want them to be 9. And then
Yeah.
I also feel like, oh, when they're 9, like they'll be in soccer. Like that'll be nice. I'll get an hour.
Yeah, right, right, right. Oh yeah, and I go down there and I see them, and my son is like, "Mom, do you want something to drink? Can I make you some coffee? Do you want me to
So
make you eggs?"
nice.
And it's like he's taking care of me now. Boom,
Yeah.
this is good.
Wow.
Right. I know they're wonderful. I love them so much. Okay, so let's look at some of the questions.
Okay. We have a few.
Has this been like an incredible convo, everybody? Oh, don't forget, I have to say it, last day of sale. Sign up for courses. That is how you stay persistent with your career. That's how you keep getting better. That's how you make money from your art. Make art that sells. That's why I named it that. I'm a practical gal. Okay, let's see. Raquel Lopez says, can you tell us more about that year that you quit your job and traveled on your own? I'm also a small woman who wants to solo travel and find more clarity and peace.
Hmm.
Well, maybe a short answer because we have a lot of
Sure.
questions. Yeah.
Sure. The short, I'm assuming this is coming from a place of like safety and security, maybe. Which is that, I traveled like really smart. I wasn't like going off doing hikes by myself or anything like that. But also for every place that I mapped out all the places I was going to go to. And ahead of time, I found um, places where I could co-work. So I would reach out and I would say, like, oh, this is an artist studio here. I would email them and say, can I come work out of your studio for a month? And that's how I met other women. And
Well,
then these became friends and I could have coffee with them and do things. Oh, I heard this restaurant's good. Do you want to go with me? And that is how I started making friends with people I knew I would mostly get along with because our work would kind of connect us.
yeah.
And that was really nice. And I did that primarily because I had been looking for creative community
Mhm.
after working by myself at home for so long.
How did you
And it
find
was
them, Mira? How did you
I would
find
just everybody's talking about it on Instagram. They'll say me and so like have our own studio. So I would email them and say, well, I'm gonna come to Nashville. Can I work out of your studio for a couple days? Would that be okay? And I would offer to, pay if if whatever to help with their rent. And everybody always said yes. And I got to develop friendships that I had only had on the internet before that, or
I,
sometimes that I had not had at all. And that is how I could travel and work and get a feel for a neighborhood and a new place
okay.
with somebody.
Couple of questions.
hmm
Were you already published? Did people already know of you? Were you already?
so I quit in 2017 and I had already had Start Where You Are in 2015. I don't think people knew, I don't feel like I've ever
But I
been
mean, they
like
could look you up and
big
see that
time,
you
but they could
don't
look me up and see I'm a legit person.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, number one.
Yeah,
Number two. Oh my God, I want to do that. Number,
yeah.
so have you written about this?
About the traveling?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all in this guy because it was all part of this year.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to reread that. My bad.
Yeah.
I forgot that. Okay. So about your year, are there any, Leanna Lee asks, are there any online videos you liked for learning watercolor technique? And if you don't
Hmm.
know of any, I would just suggest, Leanna, that you just Google on
hmm
YouTube. But do you know of any?
Well, I would say that I don't think I do watercolor the right way, or, like if you wanted to know about like value or things like that, like I don't know about them. So I paint the way I like. It's a lot of trial and error. I would
Mhm.
say now I'm learning more about technical skill, but it's not specifically with water. I want to learn how to be a better painter. And I am actually looking at books instead of online tutorials. I got a big book. I don't have the title, but I can email Lilla and she can send it to you. But I got a big book that was published like 150 years ago on color theory and color value, and it's so cool.
Johannes
And
Itten, is it the Itten text?
I
ITTEN,
don't, it's like
fat,
a big
big
volume.
and
Is it
fat.
that one? Yeah, fat,
Yeah,
huge.
yeah,
Yeah, then it must be that. It's
yeah.
incredible.
It's
It's
incredible. You
incredible.
don't, and I just want to reassure everybody, you don't need to know color theory, but it does help you sensitize yourself. Oh, I see what these are. But don't feel
hmm
a need to have a grasp of theory. I actually love color theory. Don't forget I have my Color Quest course that is downloadable
Hmm.
that gives you beautiful color palettes based on vintage imagery and so forth. Color Quest. It's
And I was going to suggest also just Skillshare. They have any class you would want.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay. How, anonymous attendee, how did you get into children's picture books? I'm not sure. What are the types of stories you want to tell there? Love your essays, reflections about motherhood and your kids.
Thank you. I got into children's picture books through grad school. When I attended grad school in 2021, we moved during the pandemic,
Mhm.
and I had been awarded a fellowship, which meant that they paid me to go to grad school. And I will say that I believe I was awarded that fellowship because of the career I had built on my own as a self-taught artist. And so that was really rewarding and really validating. And so I took that opportunity to say, what I really want to do most in my life is make books for kids. It's what I've always wanted to do. I've been really scared to do it. And here's an opportunity for me to do that. And that's when I totally pared down my business and said, I'm making books. I make books for adults and I make books for children. And so I let go of the products and the licensing and all of that. And during grad school, I just made a bunch of terrible work. Um, and I shared it, right? And I talked about it. I said, I want to make picture books, and here's how I'm starting. And I shared about it. And after I graduated in 23, I had worked on a picture book dummy as my thesis project. And I submitted it. I did a lot of agent research and I submitted it to two agents. I reached out to two. And one emailed me back right away and said, I love your work. I want to talk. And we really connected and I ended up signing with her. And the other one emailed me back about a month later and said, thanks so much. Are you still free? And I said, unfortunately not. I signed with somebody. But again, those were two moments where I was like, oh, like, okay, I'm on the right track. They were just small little, like, you're on the right track, you're on the right track. And then I got an inquiry from Candlewick, who said, this author is writing a book about libraries, about books. Would you want to illustrate it? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So that is the first book that I'm illustrating. It's called Dear Library, written by Emily Arrow. And I'm super excited about it. And like Lilla said, I'm learning so much from the first picture book job. There's so much. It's so different from anything I've ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Um, and I will say I'm pitching my own, and I'm going to share this because I think it's really important. I pitched my thesis book. We sent it out to everyone. It was rejected by every single editor. That was 2 years ago.
Mhm.
This year, we pitched it. I rewrote the whole thing. I re-illustrated the whole thing, and we pitched it. And so far, it's been rejected by everybody. And I'm saying that because I want you guys to know that rejection has been more intimate in my journey than success has been. I've been rejected from everything 1,000 times more than anybody has said yes to me. And so I'm getting very, very familiar with that. I still get down about it. I still feel a little bit of like, is it me? But the more that I make work that I care about and the more that I'm growing as an artist and a
Mhm.
writer, I feel it's not me. My work is great. It just has to find the right eyes. And not everybody sees like me. Not everybody thinks like me. That's okay. That's part of what makes my voice unique. So I just got to look for my match. And, finding my husband took 1,000 years. So finding the right editor will also.
Oh, I love that. It's so true. I want to say a couple of things about that. First of all, that agents and clients, I was an agent for 30 years, and companies, book publishers and so forth, they need and want your great work. They are looking. We want great illustration to, as an agent, we wanted that to pitch to our clients to get work and money for everybody. And clients, publishers want great illustration to help sell their books and to love working with them. We all love working with great talent. So people need you, everybody. They need your great work, number one. Um, and second of all, when I was an illustrator early on, I had a weird style. I've told you this before, and it's very stylized. You can see my illustrations on Instagram, but especially back then in the 80s, things were very kind of traditional, very traditional, except for a few people. I saw a few really cool people doing some cool illustration. That gave me confidence. And I knew I was really wrong for the majority of illustration out there. I was really wrong, but I was perfect for the cool people that I liked, the magazines that were buying illustration, really cool stuff, the small percentage. And you find those cool people who are doing the cool books you love or magazine illustrations or whatever. Just all you need is a tiny 0.001%. I made that number up. But anyway, that's all you need to have an incredible career. So you
Mhm.
get to be your own unique self. And one of the things I love about Mira is that she is wholly and truly herself, 100%. Her art, her writing, the book topics, everything is really hers. And it's okay if you get rejections. You're just really fine tuning who is wrong, and then you'll find who is right. It's very
Mhm.
normal. Rejections are absolutely normal. I mean, I rejected some real top talent because while I love their work, they weren't right for us, or we had just taken on someone else. Like I'm telling you, the reason why you get rejected, maybe it's about your work, but it's usually not the right fit, not what they're looking for. They just took on somebody and they're overwhelmed. It's too, for me, my work was, I remember going to places and they're like, I just remember this. oh my God, I bring my portfolio around in New York and they go, well, I really love your work, but I don't know that our readers in the magazine,
Mm,
I don't know if they would get it. I really
mm-hmm,
love your work. And I'm like, they will.
mm-hmm,
If you just show it to them, why do you think they're idiots? Why do you think
mm-hmm,
that you have taste level and they're stupid? You know?
mm-hmm.
And eventually, of course, I would get them. And then my first job was New York Magazine. And then I could say that to the next person. And also,
Yeah, that's an amazing first job.
yeah. And then I'm like, I remember, well, if they like my work, I guess there must be other places that like my work. But like you, Mom,
Yeah,
Mom,
no,
I remember
I know.
I moved to New York from San Francisco. I'm an illustrator. Oh my God. And I get a job and then like nothing for like a few months and I'm running out of my savings. Mom, I think my style is over. I've been here 2 or 3 months. I think my style is over, Mom. So I just
So
want,
cute.
isn't that adorable?
All style comes back around.
Whatever. And if you're your own stuff, it has longevity. Okay. Can you just speak to, and then we're going to get to the giveaways. Oh no, we have more questions. One thing leads to the next. That's what my mom always said to me too.
Hmm.
One, and can you speak to how that's been in your career? How one thing has led to the next?
I think it's been absolutely that way. I think all of the licensing and the product artwork that I have done, I think a lot of that came after Start Where You Are. They saw the book, they saw the book in bookstores, they saw people talking about it, and people started seeing, like, oh, this person makes work, and this work might be good for a pair of shoes, or this work might be good for a t-shirt or wrapping paper. And so that was how. But I will also say, like you said, like, oh, now I can say I did a job for New York Magazine.
Hmm.
I, my door is not being knocked on 24/7. I'm doing the knocking. Still, I still do the knocking. And I say, here's the stuff that I've done. There is a lot of work out there. There is a lot of fabulous, fabulous artists out there. And so I try not to take the knocking apart. Um, I try to I try to stay humble when I get into those moments of why isn't anybody calling me? How come people aren't reaching out to me for this? I say, it's busy. The internet is all consuming, like everyone feels overwhelmed. So if I can make it easier by reaching out to them and saying, I want to work with you, I'm going to do that. And so I try to keep the ego in check and I try to still go after what I want.
Hmm.
And a lot of times it doesn't work out and sometimes it does, but each one helps me get the next thing.
Yeah, and I wanted people to reach out to me. Like I'm like, huh, wonder if that person's going to reach out to me. I love their work.
Right. That's so funny.
And that's how we would think of it. Okay, back to questions. Let's see. I'm going to skip through, and if you see any, Mira, that you want to answer, um,
I got one about greeting cards, two about greeting cards. The card company is Beely and Shoaf. I'll type it here. I don't know if it goes to everybody. Maybe I'll type it in the chat. Oh, it does go to everybody, I think.
at the blue at the bottom, make sure it says
Yeah,
everyone, not hosts and panelists.
it did. I don't know if you guys can see it. Just tell me. But it's Beely and Shoaf.
I don't.
Um, and that is, I will say that was a strange one where I had been reaching out to card companies
Mm,
and nobody was responding to me. And then this card company reached out to me. And in
mm.
my head, I was like, are they all friends? Are they all friends? And somebody said, like, she's not right for us, but maybe she'll be right for you. I don't know. I still don't know to this day. But Beely and Shoaf reached out to me, and I've been working with them for a couple of years, and they're amazing to work. I love working with them.
They used to be so one of them used to be Madison Park Greetings, which was a
Hmm.
wonderful company. They
Right.
did a lot with us. They maybe reached out too because they are a newer company. And that's
Yes.
one thing. When you find a newer company, they're building up their roster and they will reach out. So that's a great way. Um, but
Yeah.
their taste level's great. They're a really good company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're wonderful.
Okay. Um, let's see. When does the sale end? It ends today, midnight tonight. Anonymous attendee. Um, Raquel Lopez says, I'm looking at your books online right now. Mira, what's the best place to buy them to support you?
Thank you. Um, Honestly, your local shop would be great, but if you're looking online anywhere, also, bookshop.org is a great place. If
Okay.
Amazon or Barnes and Nobles or, if that is best for you, that's great for me. Everything supports me. So whatever is best for you is great. But I will say a great way to show support is by leaving a review wherever you do end up buying it.
Mhm.
Um, it really makes a difference for other people being able to find my work. So if you have the time to do that, I would really appreciate it.
That's fantastic. Brem de Malete says, I want to ask how to be more self-confident of say yes to ourselves style. English might not be our first language, but that was good. What book should would be good? What book of yours would be good for her about building her self-confidence?
Oh, how about, let me find it. Um, Go Your Own Way, a book for building self-confidence.
There you go. Perfect, perfect. Okay. Tina says, I took the Artie book course. Thank you, Tina, and got worried about the visual parts of the proposal as I usually just jump right into working on the final and froze up. Would it be enough for publishers to see a few finished completed pages from the final book to submit for the proposal, or do publishers like to see a proposal and not sample pages? Not sure I
Mm,
understand that, but um, you have the written part of the proposal and some sample pages, basically. You
mhm,
want to give them a flavor, like, here's what my book is going to be. Here's what I'm going to talk about. Here's my writing style. Here's my table of contents. Here's
mhm.
sample pages. Would you concur with that, Mira, or anything to add?
Absolutely. I will say for how it feels to find yourself, I submitted an overview, who the book is for, why I'm making it, what issues it's going to address. I
Well, it's
included the whole table of contents.
mhm.
And under each section here, these are the categories, but I also included each page, what love looks like under the love section, the things about love that scare me, all of the essays I was going to write for each section. And then I also did, I think, maybe two mini essays and illustrations as like sample of you want them to be able to read a chapter, a sample, and say, oh, this is the voice, this is the art. So they
Mhm.
get a good feel for it.
Totally. Do they need to do, did you ever do comparables?
I do. I always do comps.
The comps.
Yep.
And like three, two, three,
Three.
four, three.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. And we
And
talk
you
about
want to,
ours.
you talk about that? Yeah.
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 Comparables and
Hmm.
a summary, a paragraph or two summary, and all
Yep.
the different parts. Okay. I think we answered most of the main questions. So let's get on with the giveaway. Okay, people, first up, do you want to hold up your cards, Mira?
Oh,
We're going to do that first. Mira's cards.
shoot. I don't even have them all with me.
Oh, that's okay.
Is that okay? I feel. Okay. I'm going to say that I'm holding up a sampling. And
Okay,
so whoever the winner is going to get a lot of surprises because they're not all within reach.
okay, perfect.
Okay. So let's say we're going to do a holiday selection.
Oh, pretty.
Thank you.
I didn't, oh, wow, I haven't seen those. Okay, you will get a selection of cards. And so here's how we do the giveaway for those of you who haven't done it before. You can guess. Um, I'm going to say the category you guess. You can guess as often as you want, as many times as you want. Becky and I will be looking for the correct answer. We may not see possibly the first correct answer, but we will. It's the answer that we pick. You get what you get, and you don't get upset. So if maybe you guessed before the other person, but the other person gets it, well, they're meant to get it, so that's all good. Okay, so we're going to give away a set of cards now, then another set of Mira's cards, then
Hmm.
her book journal, and
Yes.
then we're going to give away the Artie book course that I teach. Okay, which is how to do be Mira Jr. All right. Oh, the first, here we go. The category is your favorite drawing material, or tool or item, your favorite,
Wow.
see, nuts, huh? I'm gonna give a little tiny hint at some point. It is two words.
2 words, yeah.
Hmm. Oh, wait, was that it? No, two words. Oh, I was sure you'd get, I thought this was going to be easy. Should we tell you what the first letter is? The first letter is P. And they pause and they think, oh, I made it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. Oh, oh, okay. Shika Garg, pastel pencils. Oh, she did hosts and panelists. So you all maybe didn't see that. Pastel pencil. Shikhagarg, pastel pencils. Yay. So, Mira, should she say write to your email?
I would love that. Yeah. You
Okay.
can write to me with your address.
And what
And
is
I'll
your
make a
email?
note right now.
What's your
Should I type it in the chat? Is that the best place?
Sure.
Okay, so it's
Eh,
easy. It's just Mira at miralee.com. Did I send that?
yep. Oh no, you
I
did to
think
host
you got
and
it. Yeah,
panelists.
let me
Yeah,
do it again. Send it to
everyone.
everyone. There you go.
And she's saying, "Yay, great," she wrote. And so write to Mira and say that you won her card set from
Hmm.
today. All right. Ready for another Mira card set or surprise little package? Oh, where do you live, by the way, Shika? What country? India.
Yeah.
So you have to go to the post office.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Sounds good.
Bangalore. Wow. Cool. Okay, number two. Oh, that was favorite drawing material. Okay, I'll check this off. Number two. The category is, ready? Favorite craft supply. Go. Favorite craft supply. And it is two words. I will say it's something I've been doing lately personally. Oh, I will take this. Cynthia
Oh,
Jaquette, embroidery floss. I had embroidery thread, but floss is actually correct. Cynthia Jaquette. Yay, Cynthia. She's a regular student. Okay, Cynthia. So write to Mira at miralee.com. Is that right?
yep, Mira at miralee.com.
Yep. And yay, Cynthia. You get a nice little surprise package from Mira. Okay, number three. Do you want to hold up your book, the book that they're
Yes.
get? Learn to Let Go. Her latest, hot off look at that. Boom. Screenshot. Okay. So the category is, this is good. Mira's next dream travel location. Go. Mira, isn't this crazy?
I want to go to all of
I
these
know,
places
really. They're so creative.
someday. Yeah, they're great.
Oh my God, I love our people. I love our people. Okay, it starts with the letter C. There it is. Okay. Whoa. Anne
Wow.
Litterhouse, Croatia. Again, it's maybe not the first one I saw because I see there's one earlier, but Anne Litterhouse, Croatia. You get Mira's
And
book. Yay, you. That's exciting. So write to Meera at Meera Lee. And again, I'm sure there were others that came first, but whatever. That's the first one I pinned. Yay, Anne. That is fantastic. Anne was in Inner Circle with me. That was wonderful. That was my
oh, that's so nice.
six week intensive. All right. And now my Artie book course is our last giveaway. And you can, if you don't win it right now, you can sign up for it. You can buy it today at a big discount. It's probably like 30 or 40% off. So if you're going to do it, now's the time. I love that course. It's great. Self-paced. Um, So there we go. The category is ready. Oh, it's so worth it, everyone, says Tina. The category is something fun to paint. Go. Something chipmunk. I love you, whoever did that. Oh my God. What was the answer? Oh,
Wow.
see it yet? I looked away. I had
I haven't seen it, Lilla. No.
okay. Something fun to paint. Look at this. Clouds, class, blobs. Yeah, you know me. Orcas. Plates, cups. It starts with the letter, oh my God, S. Oh,
Oh,
saw
oh,
it.
I
Oh my
saw it
God.
somewhere.
I scroll up and then I scroll down. Okay, I'm getting there. Whoa, slow down. Whoa.
I've got yen.
You have it? You have one? Oh yeah,
Yen.
yen.
Yeah.
Yen. Okay, yen. So, yay, yen. Already booked course. So Yen, write to hello@makeart.sells.com. Oh, the answer was shoes. The answer was shoes. Something fun to draw. Shoes. Okay. So write to hello@makeart.sells.com and say that you won Artie book course. And Louise will get you together with that. That makes sense, right, Katie? Of course. An embroidery thread. I'm a limited gal. Just my same few questions, my passions. It's a great class. So please do go sign up for the classes now because, as I said, they're the best price you're going to get. And you know you're going to take Portfolio Club. I 100% promise you when the promotion starts rolling out for that in January, it starts Jan 5. Oh, and we're giving away the not giving, we're revealing the supplies that I recommend for the first assignment in mid-December. So you can order them and have them ready for you. They're optional, you don't have to, but at least you'll know. And I'm adding a few more weird ones today to that list. So do sign up. Make sure you sign up, and you'll be so glad. And then I get to mentor you and help you. All right. Well, I want to thank Meera Lee so much. What a gem. Please, round of applause for this woman. What an
Thank you.
inspiration. She's the real deal. Authenticity is her middle name. In addition to Lee, is that your middle name? Your first
No,
name?
it's my pen name.
It's what?
It's my pen name.
Oh, wow, awesome.
It's my artist name, yeah.
Oh, that's great. So, well, it's Meera Lee Authentic Patel. So there you go. Thank you everybody for joining us. I'm really
Thank
glad
you for
that you're
joining.
here. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Mira. And we're going to
it
talk on
was
the phone.
lovely.
We're going to
Oh,
talk
I
on the
would love
phone.
it. I can't wait.
I have a few ideas.
Oh, I would love it. I love it. Thank you,
Thank
Lilla. Thanks so much for
thank you,
having me. I
everybody.
loved it.
I loved it too. It was beautiful. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.